It's well into the night by the time we pull into the gravel parking lot. Sure enough, Auntie's teal hatchback Jeep is parked by the side of the building. Dexton squints at it, then points.
Ad Astra bumper sticker.
On the chrome bumper, there's a decal of what I guess is a silhouette of Captain Amicus with some sort of insect on his face. In golden, spacey font it reads, "These things are harmless, don't worry."
I didn't know your aunt was cool.
She's not. I grumble idly, my mind racing as I try to think of a distraction to keep everyone away outside. Everyone but Carl and I are already getting out of the van. The ram gives me a nervous look before nodding at me and speaking up.
Dudes, wait a second.
What? Leo's tone is curt as he looks back at the ram, who's sluggishly pulling himself outside.
I feel like I'm gonna be sick.
Now?
It's all that freeze-dried ice cream. It's so shitty. I can't handle it.
Carl begins to make retching noises, and Jenna quickly covers her ears.
Oh, God. Carl?
Please just don't throw up in my van, yeah? Guys? Carl continues to make some of the most visceral, gut-wrenching, irping sounds I've heard. They practically sound wet. Guys? I turn and see what TJ's trying to get her attention for. A whole bunch of cars are driving down the road in our direction, like a convoy. I recognize the one in front. It's Mark in his SUV. He works here at City Hall. They start to pull into the parking lot, it quickly filling up to the point where folks are starting to park on the road.
What's going on?
Here's my chance. That's Mark. Maybe he'll have some answers. I need to head inside real quick. I'll be right back. Jenna nods slightly, watching what looks like a bunch of townsfolk get out of their cars in front of us. I pass the still hunched over Carl and give him a squeeze on the shoulder. Thanks.
I feel like I'm actually gonna puke now after that.
Don't. I head inside. It's quiet when I enter, though I can hear the subtle sounds of shifting paper coming from down the hall. I'm starting to feel this strange sort of pang in my head, like someone's pressing an ice pack to the front of my skull. Maybe it's because I'm nervous. Regardless, here I go. I walk lightly, peering around the corner into Auntie's office. Her fingers flick along various pages within a manila folder, her tropical flower print scarf swaying with her every movement. I watch her, illuminated only by the soft glow of the moonlight outside. I'm wrought with this uneasy sort of feeling where I can't tell if she actually knows that I'm here or not, or whether she cares. It's a familiar feeling, but never one I quite got used to. There's a hell of a ruckus outside. You looking for something?
Anything of substance regarding the whole hysteria business?
She speaks plainly. What?
I'll tell you in a second. Is Mark here yet?
She cranes her neck to peer around the tiny slitted window in the corner of her office, yet there's not much of a view rather than the side of a sagebrush. I saw him pulling up in his SUV outside with like a whole convoy of folk following him. This about Clint? She looks up, seeming to notice my repeater for the first time. Her brow furrows.
You know, under any other circumstances, I'd give you a chewing out for bringing that inside. I did hear he's been making a hell of a scene around town, waving a gun around. Figured it was a meth binge until I saw Dale doing the same damn thing.
Diner Dale? That fucking otter is kind of a softie, ain't he? You don't think it's got to do with his painkiller addiction?
I popped 4 of the pills he takes earlier. You know, for the aches. It ain't the sort of thing to put you in the gunfighting mode.
I nod. Despite everything she's telling me, I can't really focus on it. I keep looking back toward the closed reading room door behind me. Fuck. Might as well get it over with. I take a deep breath. Did you let Chase out?
What?
She seems confused at the sudden change of topic.
Chase? Leo's lover boy?
Former lover boy. He hasn't been pounding on the door to get out?
Boy, what are you talking about? I haven't seen him since you brought him and the Hendricks boy to City Hall the other afternoon.
I turn, moving out to the hallway and unlocking the reading room door. I always thought it was weird that it had a lock facing the hall, though I think Auntie mentioned there used to be a back exit through here. What the hell?
Flynn, what did you do?
I ignore my auntie's exasperated voice as I push open the door, stepping into the dark room. It's mustier than a skunk's ass in here. With all the rain damage, I can practically feel the mildew and mold on my toes as I run my hand along the wall. Eventually, I find the light switch. Chase? He's not in here? Carl's voice takes me by surprise. The Ram's standing slightly behind me. And of course, Daxton's there too. The salamander gawping at the interior like he's in some kinda museum.
I can't believe you locked Chase up. Like, do city clerks have the authority to do that?
Not unless he's, archiving him.
You told him? I glare down at the Ram, who quickly throws up the flat of his paws defensively.
He's your roommate, dude. Come on. It's not like he's part of the old group anyway.
Fortunately, like Carl said, I don't see the rest of the gang. Carl notices me peering past him and speaks up.
They're, talking with Mark outside.
It's about time he showed up.
Hi, Mayor.
Hi.
The two of them wave awkwardly. Auntie looks at the both of them with a sort of perplexed frown.
Hello.
She responds abruptly, quickly looking back up to me.
Now, Flynn.
Just give me a sec. He's gotta still be in here. I see a stained blue V-neck shirt laying on the ground in a corner by the old bookshelves. Chase! Still no response. It's then that I notice there's something moving on his shirt, the little specks that seem to be gathered in the folds of the fabric. Oh, fuck me. I hold out my arm across the doorway, pushing Carl and Daxton back.
Dude, what?
Auntie, did Mark set off those bug bombs after work on Monday like I asked?
I'm assuming by your tone that he did not.
They hatched.
Oh, goodness. Can we not play the pronoun game right now? What are y'all talking about?
I see the unused cans sitting knocked over in the corner. Stay back, Black Widows. I lower my arm and walk over to it, quickly popping the top and watching the fogger begin to mist the foul-smelling fumigant spray into the air. The effect is near instant. The skittering pattern of the little spiders begins to grow more erratic. I watch as an adult one on Chase's shirt clambers on top of an increasingly still pile of the little spiders. It just sits there, writhing. I can feel something on my foot, too, but my scales are too thick for it to be of any threat to me. I hear Carl mutter behind me.
I take back what I've always said. You do have balls.
Excuse me?
Sorry, Mayor Moore.
Boys, I do not have time for this.
As I look past the shelves, I see a big lump of fur curled up in the corner under one of the old metal desks. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck! I dash over, grabbing at the otter's scruff and yanking his ass out of there. He's surprisingly light, and I realize I've never picked him up before.
Oh, damn. Is he okay?
Water! Give me water!
There's some in the mini fridge. I'll get it.
As I pull him into better light, he looks like absolute shit. His lips are chapped, bloody, and the whites of his eyes are bloodshot. There's also little dribbles of vomit on the floor, which I have the misfortune of stepping in. Vomit and spiders. Fucking great. Chase, wake the fuck up! I give his face a hard slap. Carl winces. The otter wheezes raspily, letting out a kind of low moan.
Man, he's terrified of spiders.
I know!
Karma, right?
Ram speaks in an uneasy tone, visibly uncomfortable at seeing Chase like this. Yeah. Maybe. Next thing I know, Auntie's handing me a bottle of water. I bring it to his lips. Drink, you stupid idiot.
If this was a prank of yours, it ain't a real gutbuster, Flynn. Move over. You're gonna drown him.
I feel a weird tingle in the back of my neck. Reluctantly, I step aside. I look at Chase, and part of me hopes he never wakes up. And I feel sick.
Why is he just in his breeches?
I blink, glancing down and getting an eyeful of Chase's briefs.
You didn't undress him before you shoved him in there, right? Or was that part of it?
Jesus fuck! No! God, no! I didn't do that! Daxon gives me a dubious look before shifting his concerned gaze back to the otter. Auntie, meanwhile, is propping his head up on a couple office chair cushions, quietly urging the otter to drink as she wets his lips. They part for a moment, and Chase complies enough to get a swallow down. Again, part of me breathes a sigh of relief, while the other half seems to be filled with a sort of angry dread. Don't wake up. Daxton crouches down beside him, pulling back some of the fur around his collarbone and showing the swelling red skin beneath.
Must have been where he got bit. And of course, 911 ain't working.
Carl chuckles nervously.
I guess it's, too late to suck the venom out, right?
You know that doesn't actually work. It's just dumb old westerns that made people believe that crap.
Well, I had a great-grandpa, or great-great-grandpa who died of a spider bite. I mean, I think it was a tarantula or something.
Tarantulas aren't that venomous.
Well, he was old as hell, and there might have been, like, a fuckload of them. I don't know.
Boys, this is real assurance talk. But could one of you get me one of them first aid kits from the bathroom? It's just round the corner.
Daxton stands up again and nods, heading off. Chase's eyes are fluttering a bit now. Maybe he's having a seizure or dreaming something real crazy. I can't tell. The salamander returns, clutching the thick metal case that looks like it's from the 90s. Auntie takes it, opening it up and grabbing what she needs like she's done this 100 times before. She applies the cold water to a piece of cloth and presses it against the spot near Chase's neck where the bite is. Once it's damped, she takes an old tube of antibiotic cream and squeezes out about a quarter of the contents on the spider bite, then lathers it in. Chase winces, letting out a quiet cry.
Stop!
His voice is high-pitched and kind of pathetic, like a child's.
Oh, don't whine. You're a big boy. I'd be whining if I was in his position. It's kinda fitting, like Carl said, ain't it though?
He looks to me, as if trying to gauge my expression. I'm managing to keep pretty stone-faced, despite everything.
If he did what y'all are saying he did.
I can tell the weird distance Carl and I are keeping from him, despite his sorry state, is unnerving the salamander. Just a couple hours ago, it was all figured we were old friends and such. Chase begins to sit up, and it's like my heart lurches. I get that feeling in my skull again, like brain freeze. No. Only Carl seems to notice as I clutch my temple, the ram giving me a nervous, concerned look. Finally, Chase looks to me.
Flynn?
Again, with a childlike voice. It's like he's taunting me. I suck in my lips. What the fuck am I supposed to say? I want to slap him again. I want the fucking truth. But he looks fucking pathetic.
Everything's stiff. No kidding. You rolled in a darn black widow nest, kid. More interesting things to add to your little movie you're making about our fair town.
Auntie sighs.
I'm worried you'll have some more content here in a bit. What? That's... Ow!
He seethes through his teeth as he clutches at his neck.
What's going on?
He reminds me of TJ, like he's about to start crying at a moment's notice or something. I haven't seen him like this in a long time. Carl's gaze shifts to the floor.
I feel... weird.
Are you okay?
Everything hurts, but it feels different. It's like this isn't a dream. It's not?
I look to Auntie. He's gonna be fine, right?
These bites can be real painful. It could have been nastier with the brown recluse, but it still ain't gonna be fun. I'd get him to some professional help if I were you. If that's possible. I'm not gonna die?
Chase peeps up, still clutching at his neck.
Unless you're an infant, elderly, or allergic, it's doubtful.
The other closes his eyes, letting out a long exhale. Meanwhile, Auntie stands up, heading toward the door.
I need to speak to Mark and see what he found. I'll be outside. Thanks.
As she leaves, I can hear the rumble of engines and hushed murmurs from a small crowd. Then the door shuts and it's quiet again. What's wrong with you, Chase? I try to keep my voice steady, though my vocal cords shrill a bit as I say his name. I practiced for years to get rid of the girly gay tinge my voice had after puberty. But times like this, I can't really hide it. Are you like a sociopath or something? Are you getting off on this? You just gonna go home and come thinking about all the pain you caused? Dexton flinches. I can tell he wants to step in Chase's defense. Chase says nothing. I can understand screwing me over, you know? I originally figured you didn't give two shits about Sydney or what happened to him. You just wanted my dick, and that's fine. You just followed me back to the river because that's all you wanted. Leo and the rest of your friends be damned. But fuck. It was so much worse. Just admit it. You just say the words.
No.
What? Chase's arms and legs shake as he sits on the floor, craning his neck to look up at me. You're saying you didn't do it? Despite what T just said? He looks toward the door.
You're an asshole, Flynn.
He speaks, his voice still having that squeaky, prepubescent cadence to it.
But Sydney was a freaking evil idiot. And I'm glad he died.
You're glad you killed him?
I'm glad he died.
That's no secret. Daxton, looking two parts tense and awkward, steps further away from the otter. Chase's eyes begin to well up. He looks so weak, but brimming with emotions. The salamander mutters something about checking on the commotion outside and heads outward. Noise from the parking lot is getting louder. I hadn't really noticed. Someone shouts about something and I hear someone else speaking quickly, trying to calm them. A long silence follows. Carl's like a statue beside the desk, unmoving, not daring to risk drawing attention to himself.
Those last 6 months before it happened, it wasn't him anymore. Or at least, not fully him.
What do you mean?
You remember that one time he got Toby that ice cream cone from the corner shop in Peyton? The cactus-themed place that had the agave ice cream?
I pause. It's such a weirdly specific thing that it takes me a moment to recall. It's also fucking strange to hear Chase call TJ Toby again.
He teased him the whole car ride up, and he was upset like usual. Sydney bought him that strawberry waffle cone scoop, the one with the pointy end. He felt guilty, I think, for a while. Tubby was talking about Sunday school or something, and Sydney just took the cone and started trying to stab with the pointed end. It just crushed in on itself, but it wouldn't stop. Like he was super into it. Then he just acted like he was scared. Not of getting punished or anything, but like, just in general, you know?
I remember that. The shop manager was yelling at him and he looked terrified. I told him not to worry about the townies. My teenage self thought it was hilarious.
Do you remember the moment he decided to do that? The look on his face? It was like,
Chase clutches at his neck some more, the otter clenching his eyes shut.
Thing was in front of him.
Chase gesticulates in front of his head, making a swirling motion before letting both of his arms drop limply on the ground. Jesus.
It's like I just woke up from a really long, really bad dream. I haven't been myself so freaking long.
Out of the corner of my vision, I can see Carl looking at me. The same shit that happened to Sydney after... What happened? Happened to you? But... Fuck. I didn't see you do any of that shit until this week.
I don't know, I just had bad dreams at first. Sometimes I'd see the stuff from the dreams in the real world. I kinda just numbed myself to it. And Leo helped me keep my mind off things, I guess.
He looks over to Carl.
Then we went to college and it wasn't so bad. I stopped taking my medication and things felt a little better, I guess. Not great. I was still a hollow, but at least I wasn't seeing the demented crap at the end of my bed anymore.
Chase takes a drink from his water bottle, cringing at the pain from each gulp. I don't know what to say. I was beginning to think I was going nuts. Like I was seeing shit that wasn't real, but hearing him talk about it out loud. Just like Sydney, that weird look he'd have before looking upset, or scared, or doing some real heinous shit. And Chase was doing it while ordering fucking brunch.
I'm sorry. Something's wrong with me. Or was. I don't know.
Guess, we can add that to the checklist of things to ask your aunt about.
Chase begins to stand up groggily.
What?
The front door is pushed open, Jenna standing in the doorway.
Guys, you should get out here.
She spots Chase studying himself against the desk, her eyes widening and her ears flicking back momentarily.
Oh, Chase! You're here. And where are your clothes?
There's spiders in them.
Carl mutters.
Okay. Just get out here.
Jenna heads back out. Chase pushes himself off the desk, beginning to walk forward like a zombie from one of those old VHS films we used to watch.
Whoa, man. Don't you have, like, some spare touristy shirts and stuff around here somewhere?
Do you seriously think Echo gets enough tourists to justify merchandise?
I just need to get back to the motel.
Clinic first. The otter stumbles a bit, though with some hesitation. Carl and I take him by each shoulder and help him to the door. I make sure to grab my rifle, though. You still didn't answer my question. Chase says nothing. We exit City Hall and are instantly greeted by a slew of faces.
This is a load of fresh shit, you know that?
What do you mean when you say we can't leave? Everyone seems to be gathered around the front entrance. The headlights from half a dozen cars lighting us up as we exit. Most eyes are on Auntie. The air has this sort of smoky tinge to it, like someone's cooking something. I wonder if it's from the fire I saw earlier.
Y'all came here because you wanted answers. Now, are you gonna listen to him or not?
I recognize most of the people in the crowd. Janice, Duke, Kudzu, Micah, Heather, Mark, and Shit. About a dozen more. Some of them look downright terrified. Others, like Micah, the klepto shithead from Tetanus Alley, just looks pissed, agitated by whatever the hell Auntie is saying. I can see Duke, the old widower who lives next to Leo, somewhere back by his car. He's not looking at my aunt anymore. He's fixated on Chase, with a sort of 1,000-yard stare. From the back of the crowd, I see the lumbering figure of Leo. At the sight of us, he pushes his way through.
Chase!
Leo stops, rubbing the side of his neck and looking off to the side as he notes the other's state of undress.
You're back, and you're naked.
Chase has this weird sort of look on his face, like he's never seen Leo before in his life. Like this is some incredibly awkward encounter with a stranger.
Yeah. Yeah. Black Widow bit me. And that made you... naked?
Leo turns, looking to me suspiciously. Fuck you, I didn't do it! God, I have no time for this shit anymore. Leo's brow furrows. I keep expecting him to jolt out his arm and slug me, but he just looks tired and confused.
I sat in the nest of a whole bunch of them, and they got everywhere. That's awful. Are you alright?
Leo brings his large paw up to Chase's shoulder. Chase flinches, and the wolf quickly releases his grasp, giving the otter a quizzical look.
I'm okay. Well, not really. But, you know.
He rubs the bite area on his neck, biting his cheek as he stares at the gravel between his feet.
I don't know, Chase. We need to get you to a doctor. But I have to ask, why'd you run off earlier? I didn't mean to. I just did. Jess, that doesn't make any sense, yeah?
Auntie begins to speak up again.
Let's talk plain like. Most of you are seeing things. Bad things. And some folk around here have started acting really strange. More so than the usual suspects on their bouts with the happy juice. And nobody's getting any tower or satellite signals for the phones and internet. Landlines fuzzy too.
A couple of people nod. Micah is now looking over his shoulder, seemingly unfocused on what Auntie's saying.
Mark tried to head off to Peyton, see if the county officers knew what was going on. He got about as far as the Flint turnoff before he found himself on the old Route 65 leading back into town. He tells me he tried 3 times to get through. No luck. Now, I would have slapped him on the head with a roll of newspaper and told him to take his clowning to the circus, if I hadn't heard the same sort of thing from my grandpa decades ago. Folks traveling in buggies trying to escape the madness of this town, and they got snared in one hell of a web. If y'all have been thinking your dreams have been getting real queer like as of late, you ain't alone. It's been getting worse. Honestly, I was packing my bags to get out before it hit.
I wasn't ready to leave. I remember telling Auntie I wanted to stay for Carl's interview, but I wanted to also see if I could get to the bottom of shit with TJ too.
So, you're saying there's no way out? That we're in, what, an inescapable bubble? Sweetheart, it's like the tide. It goes in, it's pulled out. And sometimes it pulls stuff with it. My grandpa, God rest his soul, told me it was like attracted to the uncouthness of man, the ires and desires with which we cannot unshackle ourselves. Simple sin.
A mournful look crosses her face, and she takes a deep breath.
Mark?
She looks over to the horned toad, our town's treasurer. He's standing by his black four-door SUV. I always made fun of him for buying it. Black cards in a desert ain't a good mix unless you're keen on baking. He reaches into the car and pulls out a lumpy something wrapped in a flamboyantly colored beach towel. I recognize the faded logo in the corner as one from Southwestern Adventures, an old souvenir, maybe. Mark herks as he steps in front of the mare with it, setting it on the ground. First thing I see are the feet sticking out of the end. Someone in the back, Heather I think, screams. It's a banshee-like wail as Mark pulls back the fabric.
No! Keith!
It's not Keith. At first, it's difficult to tell exactly what I'm looking at, but after a few moments, I can see clearly who it is.
That's Salem!
Keith! Jesus.
No! TJ begins to sob, his terrified sniffles mixing with Heather's confused, shrill cries. The boar is covered in lacerations, most of which are on his face. 2 swipes of whatever cut him seem to have torn his eyes and part of his snout out. I always thought when someone had their eyes taken out, it'd just be black holes inside. But it's pink. It's like I'm looking into the guy's brain. I feel like I'm gonna hurl. What happened to him?
He tried to leave.
Yeah, but how did that happen? The raccoon, who up to this point I've never seen as anyone but the strong silent type, looks shaken up bad. He clutches his forehead with a paw, shaking his head. God, for a second he looked like somebody else. I barely know Salem. He's a recent move-in, who originally squatted on vacant land in an RV until the landowners started making him pay rent to live there. He kept to himself, never even said 2 words to the guy. That's an accomplishment when you're stuck in a town with just about 50 people still living here.
Mark tells me that the 3rd time he tried to leave, he saw him just laying there on the side of the road next to his RV, dead as a doorknob. So to answer your question, Coonboy, I don't know. These things always end, but there's no clear definition of when or how. I advise, as I do in all trying times, to turn to the higher powers, pray and repent as you may.
There's a shocked silence from those present. Daxon keeps shaking his head. Jenna tries her phone again. Micah stares off into the dark in the direction of the highway.
I know how to make the vision stop.
Weasel steps up to Auntie, though he's not looking at her.
Yeah? What's your proposal, Duke?
He points a pink finger toward Chase.
We stop him!
Chase sorta half blinks, his bloodshot eyes aimed all unfocused like at the scruffy weasel.
What?
I can't discern who that voice came from.
This has all happened before.
He looks toward Auntie, who nods inquisitively.
And it's only gonna get worse. It happened to my granddaddy, my daddy, and now it's happening to me. Well, me and the rest of yous. Dell's missing. Cynthia drove off into the desert. Clint and Jeremy are running around shooting and screaming at nothing. Thing is, we've all got something after us. Something bad. Won't leave you alone when it starts. What's after you?
The raspy-voiced bat chimes up, still looking off into the desert away from the crowd. Duke's quiet for a moment, rolling a handmade cigarette between his thumb and index finger.
It's always triggered by something.
Duke begins to pace, still pointing at Chase.
I've seen you here last week, before all the rest of your little friends showed up. Late at night, outside his house.
He nods in Leo's direction, the wolf clasping Chase's shoulder protectively.
Just standing there. For hours and hours. Didn't even need to be asleep to see ya.
That last line rings strange, Duke saying it as if it makes perfect sense. Chase's gaze shifts to his feet, his legs beginning to tremble.
Hey. I'm not saying you did it, or that you were wanting this all to happen.
He steps over Salem's body, approaching the otter.
It's just that you gotta know something. Anything that we can use to stop this. 'Cause anytime I ask big ol' Leo here, he just got this glazed look in his eyes, telling me where I can stick my inquiries. That doesn't make sense. Well, someone told me that you would know.
It's at this point I see the black metallic shape sticking out of the back of the weasel's trousers. He's got a gun. Daxton flinches, seeing it too.
Oh, shit.
He mutters, and I feel Carl step closer against me.
Who? Someone I know.
He yells, leaning in closer to Chase. Leo steps completely in front of him, ears down with his fangs bared.
It makes sense. Something bad happens, and if you don't fix it, it won't stop coming after you.
Me before you. Leo's snarl turns into a tight, tepid frown. He looks unnerved, uneasy with Duke and what he's saying.
This is all real timely with your friends showing up. So, what happened, Chase? I don't know what you're talking about.
Auntie exchanges a glance with Mark, then they both look to Chase, seemingly unconcerned that Duke is packing.
Things are getting worse out there, and unless we do something, we're all gonna end up like young Salem.
Duke's voice is dead and distant.
He's right.
Auntie's voice cuts through the air like a knife. Next thing I know, her and Mark are stepping beside Duke.
Flynn, come here.
My heart lurches at hearing my name called, and I strain myself to keep a straight face. I try not to look at the body as I walk up, feeling my backside illuminated by a dozen headlights and the gaze of the crowd.
You locked Chase in the reading room with all them spiders. Why? You what?
Didn't know about the spiders at the time. I mumble.
Flynn?
She looks away for a moment. My options are condemn, place, condemn, chase. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Just wanted to check, sorry. Pretty sure he killed Sydney. I clutch my head, the blood in my veins feeling cold. It's as if the gravel beneath my feet is turning to quicksand. My mouth moves as if to say more, but I manage to bite my tongue. This just makes the pain worse. What the fuck is happening? I can see Jenna covering her face with both paws, seemingly in disbelief this is really happening. There's a few murmurs from the gathering. Micah looks back at us, seemingly distracted from whatever was in the desert that he was staring at.
You're talking about your little friend who drowned in the lake a decade ago?
Yeah.
Wow, kid.
He clicks his tongue, shaking his head at the bedraggled-looking otter.
That's fucked up.
Chase starts to look like TJ again, as if on the urge of breaking down into sobs. He seems to be alternating from angry, sad, and confused, over and over again.
This ain't right how you guys are handling this, yeah? Duke, Flynn, Mayor Lady, you really need to fuck off. We'll handle this.
I don't reckon I believe that.
Sid died like 10 years ago. This doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, this sort of murder happened before. My grandpappy lived through this whole thing and stayed in the town after. Yeah, that's right. It happened weeks after the body was found.
Auntie rubs her thumb against her floral scarf, staring into the headlights of one of the old Jeeps.
The one in the mines. The air got all electric and fuzzy. Folk went out of their heads.
She's never talked about any of this before. How do you know that?
Brett gabbed about it a lot when you were a young'un, and even before you were born.
Dad.
The whole superstition was part of his justification for making a library and booking it. Well, that and one other reason.
I tried to ignore the last comment, still focusing on the incredibly tense stare-down between Leo, Chase, and Duke. I heard Mom and Dad hated Echo, mainly the usual grumblings about godlessness. Any ailments they had were surely the fucking results of some latent sin.
Point is, the ground beneath our feet is a tainted soil. Rotten, shaky loam.
Duke interrupts, but Auntie doesn't seem to mind. She's just frowning now, looking to the crowd of people. Her scarf's come undone due to all the fidgeting, and all the old scars she has beneath are visible, tattered scales replaced with pink flesh.
It's more rotten in some places. Y'all know the ones. My grandpappy thought that's 'cause they didn't catch the murderer. They planted some seeds in the bad dirt. But that ain't true.
Duke rubs at a scab along his forehead, squeezing his cigarette so hard that the ash starts pouring out the other side like toothpaste.
They caught him, all right. Then everything was okay for a while after they found him and he was killed.
What the fuck does this have to do with Sydney? Duke continues, ignoring me.
So I don't know what it is. If it's murder or guilt or not catching someone that did wrong.
I shake my head. I can't believe this shit. Sid's not fucking haunting the town, you meth-addled cunt.
But it started when you got here. So you gotta forgive me for wondering if one of you did something bad.
He was a fucking 9-year-old.
And brought that guilt back to this poisoned land to grow the seeds again.
Duke doesn't sound like himself at all. Not even his recently crazed self. Still, though I don't want to admit it, I start to have an idea of what Duke might be getting at. How this all fits into our history. And judging from the look on the gathered crowd's faces, the feeling appears mutual. There's murmured inquiries about what to do. Heather is still quietly sobbing, asking a group of people who ignore her why no one is helping Keith. Guinevere Sanders, a retired mail carrier from Peyton, mentions something about a lynching. Jenna's arms are crossed tight, her expression this sort of furrowed, indignant stare that slowly falters to upset confusion. TJ's next to her, one paw on her arm. I can barely hear him, but he keeps saying he's sorry, over and over. Leo begins to tug at Chase, pulling him back in the direction of the van. The two begin to hurriedly walk before Auntie speaks up.
Stop.
I always had this niggling desire, this idea of getting justice for what happened. Sid deserved as much, and now I can't say I'm feeling any catharsis or joy. Just this hollow rumbling from my insides. This ain't right. This can't be how we fix shit. Carl has his head down now, the ram acting small despite his burly proportions. I just want to move beside him, tuck him under my arm, and fuck off far away from here.
Get back over here.
Leo shakes his head. We're not sticking around for your shitty speeches. We're leaving. Just needs a doctor. Come on, guys. He makes a beckoning motion to us. Jenna quickly shoves her phone into her purse, the Finnick visibly trying not to look at the body as she, TJ, Carl, and Dax head to the van. Just as I start to join them, I hear a clicking noise to my side. The horrible noise is deafening. I clutch the side of my head and crouch down. A brass shell casing falls and hits my leg. It's hot. Duke's pointing his pistol into the air. Our group stops in their tracks, TJ falling to the ground and covering his face. Heather is shrieking, screaming over and over again. And then, suddenly, she stops. There's some flailing of movement from the group that was standing near her, like the dancing you see at raves. When I look again, I can't see her anymore. Micah's gone too. He and a few others scattered. I can barely see the bat's silhouette in the distance, sprinting into the desert. What the fuck, Duke? I scream at the weasel.
Needed to get their attention for the mayor, yeah?
That's no fucking excuse. That shot could come back down and kill somebody. Duke clutches the pistol limply in his grasp, seemingly uncaring of where he's pointing the loaded weapon as he twirls his wrist about.
It's a bit late for that now. Folk have been hurt already. And they'll continue to get hurt till we stop this.
I hear shouts of agreement from the remaining crowd. Auntie just nods, and I can't help but give her a dumbfounded look. I clutch my repeater close.
Spiders. Spiders got him. That right, Flynn?
She points to Chase. Yeah, he sat in a nest of them.
Duke?
She holds up a finger, fast walking back into the office without another word. Duke watches our group by the van. Everyone's quiet. His pistol is aimed up at the sky. After a minute, she returns with a piece of faded paper clutched in her hands. There's some old-timey writing on both sides of it. She holds it up to Mark and Duke. Mark uses his cell phone as a light as they begin to read, Duke lowering his gun. I can see Jenna moving by the edge of the van. She's motioning toward me, then Duke. What does she want me to do? Disarm him? One quick chop of his wrist. That'd do it, I guess. I'd have to drop my repeater, though. I don't really want to risk that. At least not yet. Surprisingly, Chase speaks up.
What's it say? Boy, I think you know what it says. You were rooting through our stuff and plucking all these records Thursday. James Hendricks' notice of death.
Carl visibly stiffens.
Guess what killed him? Spiders.
I step up, squinting at the paper. It's a notice of death, all right, referenced in an estate transfer. It's for a James Hendricks who passed away in 1913. The cause of death is listed as poison/infection. Theraphocyta. Tarantula. Tarantula. Chase shifts uncomfortably. Chase's ass got planted on some black widows. And what does Carl's great old whatever have to do with this?
James Hendricks the first was a notorious sodomite, like Chase.
I sigh. What?
You see, I was looking at this the other day.
He's working on a school project. Hell, that's why he's here. So he claimed.
You sure about that?
Auntie seems to pry at my own niggling doubt. I look back at the pathetic-looking otter. He looks to me. And then Dax steps up. Hey, He stops just short of the body on the ground. Daxton straightens his posture, folding his hands behind his back.
Mr. Duke, I think you're making a lot of really interesting headway into how we can solve all this. You know, much better than just hiding out in our houses from rampant chaos and the like. But, Salem here.
He uneasily gestures toward the corpse on the towel, the board's hollow eye sockets still staring at the stars above.
Whatever I got him, I think stopping/avoiding that should be priority number one. I've only known Chase about half a week, but he doesn't seem to be the sort to be capable of all this. Kid, I've known Chase all my life, and I'd reckon something similar. But at the end of the day, Chase didn't do this. It's what Chase did that did this. This town needs justice. Hell, that little Sydney kid needs justice. I'm gonna save all y'all. And make it so she leaves me alone once and for all. Who leaves you alone?
Duke doesn't respond, instead raising his pistol. I can't tell who he's aiming it at. His paw shaky. I need to do something. Jesus fuck. Do nothing, do nothing, do nothing. Let's do the bottom one again. Oh, check them all again. I stand there. I stand there. And I stand there. I can see Jenna beside the van looking at me pleadingly. Auntie's peering at me now, a strange look on her face. This isn't right. I should do something. My head's killing me. Something's wrong. And at the worst possible fucking time. I grit my teeth, concentrating on what's really happening. Duke says something I can't quite make out. Daxton stammers back a retort.
I had visions of Chase too, but nothing that points toward that as a conclusion.
Leo slides Chase behind him, the wolf's ears pinned to the side of his head.
I don't know if I want to trust Daxton. Got a gun, you might as well use it.
Despite the throbbing pain, I managed to pull up my gun and aim it at Duke. Drop it, fucker.
Flynn! Let him die!
Someone in the crowd yells. Fuck you!
I ain't gonna kill him, Flynn. He just needs to stay put. If the spider bait gets him, then that's fate.
And if he doesn't stay put?
I'll make him stay put.
The fuck you will. Put the gun down! Duke just stares ahead at the otter, pistol still raised. Daxton holds up his hands, ultimately stepping to the side and out of the line of fire.
You don't need to do this.
I said drop it! Why won't you fucking listen to me? Duke says nothing. Do it! I see the weasel exhale, traces of cigarette smoke leaving its nostrils and dissipating into the hazy air. Slowly, his wrist goes limp, and he lowers his arm to his side. I step over and knock the gun out of his paw.
You're dooming us, kid. And your friend's gonna get away with murder.
I scoff. The fuck you will. Now shut up. We're leaving. Auntie moves over beside me, resting her hand on my shoulder.
Flynn, you can't make this decision for everyone. There's something wrong with the...
I can't believe you entertained this fucking meth head's proposal. I used to think you were a good person, you know? But fuck that. Which trials it is. I spit on the ground. Auntie lowers her hand and begins to fidget with her scarf, her gaze shifting downcast.
Used to think us Moors were immune to all this sordid business. But I don't think you are. Not anymore. Be careful, Flynn.
She turns, walking back toward Mark, who is busy rewrapping Salem's body and bringing him inside. It's rare to see her look so uneasy. Trying to run a shit town like Echo, you get thick skin for shit crumbling all around you, but nothing like this. Leo quickly helps Chase into the van, and the rest of the gang follows. Sunday.
Well, that was Saturday. The long day. I think with Flynn, Sunday is also a long day. But man, what a day Saturday is, man. In all these games, on all these roads. Poor fucking Sydney, dude. I've had an overbearing father like that. Well, I have. It's like having to walk on eggshells because just how awful and critical and just ready to just lash out at you that person is all the time. It just sucks. I have to deal with that as a little kid and with all the threats getting shipped off and everything. It's not a good way to parent. It makes the people resent you. It doesn't make them love you at all. I just don't understand why parents don't understand that. Especially people like his dad, Sydney's dad. Didn't seem to understand that at all. Like, why not? What's so hard to understand about that? And my dad and I, we don't have a great relationship. We still talk to each other, but I try to reach out and try to be the better person and, hug him. Don't kiss, but try to hang out with him. But good God, it's always awful. Because, it's any little thing he doesn't like or doesn't agree with, he's vocal about it. And not in a good way, a very attacking way. And it's at a point now where I'm just like, I don't need to deal with that shit. I hope no one else has to deal with that, but if you do, man, keep your head up, keep hope alive. And if you can get out, get out. Minimize low contact. Might be the only good way. Find some good friends. Like, I'm beginning to understand Flynn's a real good friend, even though he's on the surface, he has that real lashing tongue, which I'm not a big fan of. But also Daxon. Daxon helps a lot. Like, he was going to help Carl during the interview, and then Flynn told him to stay at Carl's house. And you know what? I think Daxon going along would have helped a whole hell of a lot. Carl is not very confident in himself and his ability to do interviews. And honestly, you need every advantage you can get when you're doing an interview. Because that's a skill. And fuck, man, Carl hasn't developed that skill at all. And he's still young, so he shouldn't. But no, Flynn would have helped so much if he had actually gotten around to that. Because there's all these interview questions that you need to get a good answer for. And usually those are things that they expect you to have, like, kind of worked out. Some of them. Carl went in there blind. He was super unprepared for it and in a bad state of mind for an interview. No confidence. Yeah, when he says that he went in there and they could figure that he was not in for it. He was not for it at all. Yeah, that's true. I believe that. Man, Flynn really messed up by telling Dax to stay in the room because Dax apparently knew the owner of that shop, and that would have been a really good introduction. Going there, hey man, this is my friend Carl. Just met him, but I think he's pretty good. It's just a print shop. I mean, how can it be? That kind of thing. Really help him out. Yeah, every little question. There's lists of questions online that you can print out and and get an answer for each one. Don't bring it in with you. That might not look good. Probably don't write it on your hand or anything either. People be like, hey, let's shake hands. Oh, sorry, that's one that has all of my answers on it. But yeah, shit. I know Flynn wanted to help. He just didn't get around to it. And he messed up. Poor guy. Poor Carl. Yeah. It's interesting too, the
resumes. If y'all are new to the resumes, it's actually good for each individual job. Look through the resume and look through the job description. Find keywords that you can put into your resume because for each job that you're looking at. And you should develop a new resume for every single application you make. If you apply to like 5 different jobs, you should write 5 different resumes. They should all look basically the same, but some of the words in there, the key words you need to have from the job description and put those into your resume. For the most part, it can look very similar, but it needs to be different. You need to work on each one. You need to tailor each copy of your resume to each job that you're applying for. If y'all didn't know, that's really, really good practice. And of course, find some of those questions online. Answer for each one. Don't go in blind like Carl did. Try to and if you can get a good friend. And unfortunately, it is who you know. Damn, it would have been so good if Dax went in there and introduced. That would have been a huge boost. And honestly, I don't think it really matters too much what you wear. In the places I've worked at, I'm the kind of guy who comes in with like at least a nice dress shirt on, slacks and good shoes, and a tie. I think that's minimal. That's the minimum I would dress down. I see some people walking with hoodies, and they still get the job. I'm like, how did you get the job? You must be Prince Charming. Dang. It's wild. So I guess it's okay to wear the beanie if you're like, Carl, we need to have the beanie. And it's going to help you be more confident. Why not? You know? Dude, with Flynn, with TJ meeting Flynn, I can't, it's just one of those things with TJ. You know he's a good person because he said he wants to help Flynn out. He knows Flynn deserves an explanation. Even if Jenna doesn't agree, but she's kind of a bitch. She's a lot of a bitch. You twisted my arm. Okay, she's a lot of a bitch. But TJ is just such a wholesome person. But when he finally does break down, you get to see how traumatized he was by the experience of Sydney dying. He doesn't want to relive it. Who would? Any victim of a crime like that, especially the R word. That's why some few of them go forward and file a complaint, file, the papers with the police report. They don't want to live through it again. They don't want to go to court and have to relive that. Yeah. Even Flynn trying to be kind of kind was still pretty nasty, though. But that finally was revealed. I think Chase deserved to get smacked in the face. But then they all kind of got lost because of Clint singing. Makes me think. You think Clint goes caroling at Christmas? Hey, if Chase can make light of it, so can I. You know what's really crazy is Dax, Carl, TJ, and Jenna all having seen the Socket Man. And you know the weird thing? Let's look at who these people are. There's Carl, who Flynn has like a really good emotional attachment with. I think he like, kind of loves him more than anyone else. Like he's even saying like in this route, the only person he's going to want to hang out with after this is Carl. He's like his best friend, like really connected to him.
There's a strong emotional connection there. Then there's TJ. TJ that Flynn is real frustrated with, real angry with, because he thinks TJ's hiding stuff. She was. And then with Jenna, she just always treats him like shit. There's got to be a lot of resentment there. I think it's like really strong, loving emotions with Carl, strong resentment and anger with Jenna. Probably a lot of. I'm not sure what the emotion is with TJ, suspicion or frustration, but it's real intense. Makes me wonder, why is it that Dax is seeing the Socket Man before all this? It makes me wonder what kind of relationship do those two have. Because you don't get a whole lot from Flynn in regards to Dax, but it makes me think maybe he's got not a very good relationship with him. The most that we hear is like Dax does like sci-fi shit that Carl likes. It's like he kind of dismisses everything Dax is into. So maybe they got not a very good relationship. Plus, Dax just like dismissing a lot of this stuff when Flynn gets all, picky about like what kind of cheese you use and the other thing, something else. But no, they're not super close, I don't think. Finally, what about these competing emotions and desires Flynn has at City Hall? I mean, this entire day has just been a mixture of competing emotions for Flynn. But damn me if I actually understand where Flynn's coming from on a certain level. Like you got your friend, I think we've all had a friend that, we love him as a brother, but at the same time, there's a little bit of resentment or something about them that we dislike. And it's not even like they're annoying us in a moment. It's just like strong resentment, but at the same time, like a strong connection to them, like a strong friendship, brotherly love or something. I mean, I can understand on a level, but I hope I never have to I never have to deal with anything on the level that Flynn is in this route, because holy crap, that is awful. Man. Something I accidentally skipped over. Just the closest. What Flynn did for Sydney after Sydney came up, after his dad did what he did to himself. And Flynn just kind of took the initiative just to help his friend by burying him. Damn. That's some strong stuff right there. That is wild. That's really, really crazy to think he did all that. But no, but it also, I guess I shouldn't say it's wild, but it's just a crazy situation. And you actually see where Flynn still has those emotions. He just doesn't show them. Just stone faced. Times he's, all those times he thinks about with his internal dialogue, wanting to throw up afterwards, or actually throwing up later. Yeah. Flynn's a real sensitive guy, just doesn't show it. Anything he does show, it's just kind of like calling you a fuck up. Not a whole lot of loving words out of Flynn. But I know a lot of y'all really, really like Flynn. That's cool. think he'd be okay, but I don't like people with a lot of sharp words. That's just me. You guys who love Flynn, you do you. And do Flynn. But he really is a good friend. He's just real subtle. And I'm a shut-in. I'm a freaking house cat. So I don't know. But anyways, hope y'all enjoying the series. After I finish this one, I'm going to be trying to figure out exactly where in the world the real life Echo would have been, because they dropped so many hints in this route. It might be kind of easy to find it, or at least narrow in on it really close. So that'll be fun. And then I'm going to do another Jenna route, but this is one I think everyone's going to enjoy. I'm going to treat her like shit. This is going to be getting the bad end with Jenna, where apparently she goes berserk and does what Heather wanted to do, but actually does it. So I hope you're all looking forward to that one. Let me know. Also, let me know so I know that you watch the whole video. Yeah, that's always nice. I always wonder. Of course, y'all could just jump. Yeah, never mind. But if you do want to tell me how excited you are for me treating Jenna like shit, I'd love to hear it. I love those comments. It was fun. Hope you're enjoying the Smash or Pass series that Finn and I did. I didn't want to post this like a big 2-3 hour long video again. So hopefully this is okay. Again, let me know. And I hope you will tune in for the next video. We're going to finish this up in short order, I think. And until the next video, thanks for watching and listening, everyone. I'll see you in the next route. Until then, bye!